That right there, that's the good shit. Welcome to ULTRAKILL, a shooter all about killing your enemies as stylishly as you possibly can, while also occasionally bathing in their blood to recoup your health. This is a game that has a pretty distinct visual aesthetic. Some of you out there may be forgiven for wondering if this had just teleported in from somewhere circa 1996 or 7. It's certainly got a degree of PlayStation 1 crustiness to it. That's probably the best way I could possibly describe it, but mercifully that does not manifest in the control scheme. You see, back in the day, we didn't even have DualShock. That was a later innovation on the PlayStation console. We just had the D-pad. Yeah, tough times. But here, we've got access to the wonderful, glorious keyboard and mouse, allowing us all sorts of free-flowing first-person movement, and a good thing too, because being highly mobile is certainly something you'll need to be during the course of ULTRAKILL. On that subject, you have a number of moves at your disposal. You've got a slide allowing you to speedily dodge under the likes of traps or low-clearance objects. You've also got a dash, which will allow you to speedily dodge to the front, back, left, or right, while also maintaining a degree of invulnerability in the process. Very handy, especially considering the relative aggressiveness of most enemies you'll be encountering here during the course of ULTRAKILL. But hands down, one of my favorite abilities so far in ULTRAKILL is the ground pound. Jumping up and then slamming down will not only squish anything directly beneath you, but also send surrounding enemies flying up into the air, where the combo opportunities obviously multiply. You'll have already seen evidence of this during the intro to this video, but another favorite usage of this move is sending enemies flying up while also charging the grenade launcher on my shotgun, because nothing says screw you quite like a grenade to the face while you're flailing helplessly mid-air. But wait, that's not all. You also have the ability to parry projectiles. If you wait until the last possible moment before that thing hits you in the face, you can punch it and send it back whence it came. And let's face it, the fact that it explodes when it reconnects is pretty damn satisfying too. So let's talk about the guns. One of the more notable aspects I feel about ULTRAKILL is that the first weapon you begin with is something that stays relevant for quite a significant length of time. And if I'm going to be honest, I feel like that will be the case throughout the course of the finished game. In this early build of ULTRAKILL, you only have access to two alternative fire modes, the first being a charged blast, the second being my particular favorite right now, which is the marksman coin toss. It essentially gives you a high-powered homing projectile, provided you can nail the hit as it's arcing through the air. Now, after a while you might assume that you'd get used to the trajectory of that coin flip, but this is where ULTRAKILL keeps you on your toes, because the trajectory of the coin flip isn't always the same. Sometimes it will ping off in a direction completely counter to where you're thinking of aiming, but nonetheless, being able to nail that shot and deal that additional chunk of damage is just, supremely satisfying. The shotgun of ULTRAKILL occupies an unusual niche here. It's much more adept at dealing with large crowds of lightly armored enemies than it is taking down the slightly beefier varieties that you'll be running across during the course of a level. It's here that you might start taking advantage of its alt modes, such as being able to repeatedly pump the shotgun to beef up the primary round. Just be careful that you don't pump it up too much, because that will cause the round to detonate in the barrel when you pull the trigger. That said, sometimes it can be a desirable outcome, because provided you have enough health, you can indeed tank the damage of the detonation, and it will deal a fairly forceful amount to anything unfortunate enough to be around you. In terms of preferred fire modes with the shotgun, however, I'd have to go with the grenade launcher, because it's useful being able to put a little bit of distance between yourself and some kind of detonation. Even then, you can choose how far that distance ends up being. A short charge of the grenade launcher will only send the grenade a relatively short distance, whereas holding out for the full charge will allow you to propel it further. A little further on down the line, I was also able to acquire the nail gun, which only features one alt at the moment, but nevertheless it spits out nails at a ridiculous rate while also having a wonderful side effect of setting enemies on fire. Pretty damn effective damage dealer, this one. Very fun to use, especially when sliding around on your knees for that extra multiplier, but it does come with a caveat. Keep up too much sustained fire and the battery will drain, reducing the fire rate drastically. But really, this is a game where switching weapons on a frequent basis is very much encouraged, granting you a bonus for doing so, in fact, in the midst of battle. As for the levels of Ultrakill, you'll discover in short order that they are relatively brief and pleasingly frenetic affairs. The end result screen of each rating you on time spent completing it, number of kills achieved, and style points gained. As you'd expect, levels are very much replayable, allowing you to shoot for those higher rankings and also tackle things such as secrets present every level, as well as a specific challenge for you to achieve during the course of them too. And this can include tasks such as being able to slide uninterrupted for 12 seconds or killing X number of enemies in a very specific fashion. For those of you worried about a potential lack of variety when it comes to the levels of Ultrakill, I'd say worry no more. As you can plainly see, things change very drastically from the industrial hellhole environment of that initial prelude act. Encouragingly, Ultrakill isn't content to settle with simply a fresh coat of themic paint. You'll find that even during the course of individual levels over the course of an act, things will vary up, change, curveballs will be thrown at you, new enemies will be introduced, and it's all in the service of keeping things fast-paced, frenetic, and keeping you invested in that core gameplay loop, which I will freely admit is absolutely solid as a rock. So yeah, considering how much I have genuinely enjoyed myself with this preview build of Ultrakill, you can colour me extremely excited for the prospect of whatever is gonna come next. In the grand scope of things, what I've been able to experience here so far probably represents only a small smattering of the content that will be available in the finished Ultrakill release. And even then, I've been playing relatively coy when it comes to the footage that I've been showing you, because ideally, I would like as many of you to come into these levels as fresh as possible, because there is some genuinely cool stuff going on here. I haven't even touched on the boss battles that you'll get to experience during the course of this, some of which you'll see snippets of during the course of this video against Sword Machine, which is a relatively early one. But even then, it was a fight that really got my blood pumping, one that really puts the screws to you and forces you to pretty much put into practice those skills you'll have been toying with up until that point. Very much a get good filter, if you will. In any case, you should absolutely positively not sleep on Ultrakill. This is shaping up to be something very special indeed, and I'll freely admit it scratches a few itches on my front. I've got a soft spot for that crusty PS1 style aesthetic. It may not be for everyone, I freely acknowledge that, which is why I'm happy to say that if you don't like it, you can in fact comprehensively turn all of that off if you want a bit more of a smoother visual experience. I also really like this resurgence of skill-based shooting, and the combination of that with Devil May Cry-esque scoring mechanics is just nice. Did I mention that this also has a survival mode? It has a survival mode, and a really neat implementation of one at that. As for the basics, the usual applies, escalating series of enemies and enemy types as waves progress, but the arena in which you fight everything here reconfigures itself between waves. I just think it's really goddamn neat. Also has the benefit of allowing you to bring along whatever weapons and upgrades you've unlocked so far, so if you fancy brushing up on your skills or just seeing how far you can push yourself, this is probably the ideal venue in which to do so. Thought I should just mention it before I signed off. Hopefully you've enjoyed my inane ramblings on Ultrakill. Feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments, and if you're interested in checking out the game for yourself, you'll find a link to the Steam page in the description below. While I'm at it, I'd like to give a great big thank you to my wonderful patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so very much for supporting the channel and for helping to make content like this possible. If you're interested in lending a hand yourself, maybe you'd like to see your name in the credits, maybe you'd like to gain early access to my videos before anyone else, well, if that's the case, you'll find a link to my Patreon page also in the description below. In the meantime, this has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.